Welcome to Attican Plays Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to Series 4, Episode 26 of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. Now, in our last episode, we were working on Artist Gilmore, trying to turn it around so that it was no longer in an education death spiral where we were getting too many uneducated people and having problems, to a place where everyone has a good education and we have plenty of workers. And I wanted to start by checking in on Artist Gilmore and seeing how we did. Well, if you'll recall, we had very crowded schools, overcrowded schools, and we had we were having trouble getting college graduates. We did get our university started. So let me show you kind of what's happened. It's very interesting. First of all, let's look at our schools. Check this out. Check out our schools. They're all doing great. We've got plenty of teachers. We have now turned the corner to where we are having adequate teachers and school opportunities for whoever is in the. So as each new generation comes into Artist Gilmore, they will have the opportunity absolutely to go to school, efficiently, so that they're not waiting out in the schoolyard. They're in the classroom learning, and they'll be able to move through that quickly and move on to university, because we've got a nice functioning university with tons of professors, more than we need, frankly. And so Artist Gilmore is a great place to go now to live, to get an education. Now, everybody was happy here before. Well, they're still very happy. And I'll walk through some of those error messages or those problem messages in a minute, because I don't pay enough attention to them, and that's got to change. So the other thing that's very interesting is we built this out with 7 flats, and we put in the schools around it, and we put 4 kindergartens, which is 2 more than I would typically use, or I have used up to now, and 4 playgrounds. And if we look at our folks here, it's a very interesting thing has happened. Look at our people here. Look at the problems in this flat. 20 workers without a job. But what we don't see is 20 workers could not go to work because of no kindergarten. So our kindergarten system is working very nicely. It is accommodating everybody. So we've got plenty of workers in there. If you've got a baby to drop off, you can drop off and go to work. So we've eliminated that problem by having more kindergartens. But we've created a new problem now. It's a good problem, really, that we have 40 workers that aren't doing anything. And that's consistent through each of these: 40, 37, 37, 20, 43, 38, 40. And that one there, I believe I siphoned off some of those people to go move up here to go to work. So I think that actually, the last time I looked at this prior to this, these were pretty consistently 40s, so around 40. So that's 280 people who don't have jobs. So we need to give them more jobs. We could do more wood cutting posts. We could do whatever. I also was curious about the wood cutting and the sawmill. Is it a pollution problem? And it doesn't appear to be. There's zero pollution around any of them. And by the way, I'm happy to say our wood cutting posts are working now. The Modak fix worked, and by tearing them down and building them back up, reconstructing them, it worked. What I've got set up here in each of them, these 2 just get their workers by walk-ins. So they're close enough to flats, people walk there to work. I've got 3 loggers set up in each one to go out and bring in logs from the field. I've got the same thing over here. Only difference here is I have a bus route from here. remember we blew up the school. I used that space to put in another small bus platform. I use it to have buses that shuttle workers to this wood cutting post, this wood cutting post, and then coming out of here we have a couple of buses taking people to our sawmill. You can see we're getting plenty of people. The sawmill is an animal. It can just rip through that wood so fast that we have, I've actually cleaned out all this that used to be our construction stuff, and basically have this set up to hold a little bit of wood, because I have a couple of well, I'll show you what I mean, and mostly boards to stockpile them while this train is off doing its thing. And so we are exporting boards now at a decent clip, and of course it could be better if we had an even more efficient system, but just the same, it's nice to see it up and running and to see this working. So I've got, like I said, 3 mechanisms in here, and then I've got 2 of these logging trucks assigned to go to each of so there's 2 assigned to this one, 2 to this one, 2 to this one, 2 to this one. Now the ones for here and here will go here, load logs and unload the wood, load wood and unload the wood into here, and the 2 here and the 2 here will load wood and unload the wood straight into the sawmill. And so that way we get as much sent into the sawmill as we can. Now what we could do, of course, with these people is we've got those, say, 250-ish people without jobs. We could certainly throw out a couple more wood cutting posts out here and have some more lumber brought over or whatever. But what we're going to do instead is what we're going to get into in this episode. And let me first say thank you to Max RV, Andrew Eccleston, and Steve Henderson for replying to the community post I put out there. I'm not in the habit of reading that. I don't go to that community post tab very often as a creator, and I get in the habit of doing that if I'm going to make posts. So I made a post maybe a month or so ago about how I was going to get back into this game, into Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, and I asked for ideas about how to kind of set up objectives, and those 3 folks gave some good comments on things we could do, and I'll try to work some of that into what we're doing. In fact, we're going to do a little bit of it today. Here's what we're going to get into today. I've got it all worked out, and I didn't mean to build the railroads, but I had to. I'll explain why in a minute. And I built the roads because they were so ugly with all those construction symbols on them. I want y'all to be able to see this. What we're going to do now is just kind of keep adding new products into our mix. And as per kind of a compilation of the suggestions those 3 folks did, we're going to have a little plan for adding a product in and then setting a goal for it. Only I'm not going to do 5-year plans. As I said, I'm too impatient. We'll do a 2-year plan, and our next product is going to be chemicals. So we're going to set up 4 chemical plants. And if we look at chemicals as a product, what I wanted to do was get a build that would kind of give us a 6 to 8 flat build. I wanted something in that ballpark, because I'm really liking these little modules that seem to fit together very nicely. And chemicals are a good one because you can make decent money. They're fairly expensive, and their import, the items they need that you would have to import, are super cheap. The wood's a little pricey, but crops and gravel, that's about as cheap as you can get. So it needs gravel, wood, crops, and oil. And oil isn't even too bad. And we could even provide it with a little oil. I kind of forgot about the oil, but we're not going to for now. I'm going to go without worrying about it for now. I just want to get this industry set up and running. So I set it up for 4 chemical plants, and right now the answer is 7 flats. And I think it came out 8 because I had some additional workers. I was going to do something cute with the crops, but I decided not to. And I'll hold off on that until later. But I've got it set up for 4 kindergarten, 4 playgrounds, 2 schools, a university, and I'll show you how that turned out. most of most of a fire station and most of a hospital. You don't need a fully staffed hospital for this build. And we're going to do this one with a small shopping center. So let's go look and see what this thing looks like. So I had originally, I went back and forth about the university. I'd actually set it up with a bus stop out here, which everybody could walk to, and I added one of the bus stops down here, and my intent, because it was getting a little crowded here, was to run a line in here and drop people off to go to university. But I decided instead, because it fits so nicely, I've just got another university up here, and I've got plenty of people coming up to work, and this was getting a little crowded, so I took one of the two routes. There's a route that's coming from here to the university, and there's a route that's coming from here to the university. I just took this line here and said, okay, you guys go drop off down here at this bus stop, and now the flow's a little bit better, but either way, we're getting plenty of students in our university. So remember, this university handles all the people coming in through here as they grow and mature and get old enough to go to school, and all the people here. And we could have even added this, but we're going to just give them their own university. And and the other thing I did, Mattis commented, and I've had multiple people say this, that if you build all the buildings first and then place your roads, you can make a much more compact build. So I thought about that, and so many people have said it. I know it's true because the infrastructure actually limits where you can put your buildings. However, I find that very frustrating because I'll inevitably get the buildings put down, and then I can't work the road in, and I have to blow them up and start over. But I thought about it again and said, well, wait a minute, why don't we do this? Let's do a housing block design that has the flats in the middle where they don't need road access. We can get fire and ambulance in there over the paths, and have them central, then kind of wrap the city around it. And it will make it, and that way we can, and what I did was I put these in as compactly as I could in here, and I intentionally picked a spot that was horrible. I picked a spot up here it had all these mountains in it. It had mountains up through here. It was uneven. It was, awful. But I wanted to see how this would work. So again, put these in very compactly, use the most the most powerful mechanic in this game, the footpath, to connect them up. And then what I did with each of the things, like this is the school. There's two schools over here, but everybody can walk to everything, right? So all these flats can walk to whatever it is they want from their flat. And when I went to put in like the small shopping center or the hospital or the cinema, I basically just started backing them in. I kind of used our little Johnny Hughes technique to turn it yellow and flatten it out and scoot it some more and just keep stilling and keep stilling until I got each one of these very close up to a set of paths going around connecting this way. And that way I could slide everything in very, very close, even considering the fact that there's massive hills here. See, there's even playgrounds in here. So everything is very compact and walkable for the entire thing. So we've got 8 flats that can walk to all their downtown, the shopping center, hospital, cinema, and pub. They can walk to 1, 2, 3, 4 kindergartens and a university. They can walk to 2 schools, and then they can walk to 1, 2, should be 4. Did I miss a couple? These things don't stand out like they should. 1, 2. Oh, I might be short a couple of playgrounds. I really did mean to have 4. Let's see, how far a walk is it down? You can see what a nice short walk it is to everything as well. Let's see if we can't. It's going to be a pain. I haven't built. Okay, good. I haven't built this. I wanted to show you the wiring. So let me show the idea of the wiring first before I tear it down. We've got a transformer here that was already built. So I've got one line running up to the plants. I'll talk about the plants in a minute. Another one coming this way. Switch to a substation. Switch to a substation. Finish off the route over here. So 3 substations surrounding the city. Then in the factory area, the chemical plants, line coming up, switch to a substation here, and then finishing off the route to a substation here. And this is the fire station. It's located so that it can handle the factories and the downtown. And we've got a connection to this fire station over here, and it might even help in if needed. So, and this one could conceivably even help over here if needed. So, getting a little bit of overlap on the coverage. And same thing with the hospital. We've got a hospital here. We've got a hospital here. We've got a hospital here. So these people are getting great health care. What else do I want to show you? Oh, well, we're going to do our chemical plants. There's going to be 4 of them. Because the goods are cheap, they're going to import the wood, the oil, the whatever, gravel, wood, crops, and oil. Yeah, gravel, wood, crops, and oil. They're going to import those in. And the way we're going to staff everything is everybody downtown can reach that train stop. We're going to have trains running down here that are going to drop part of their passengers here and finish off their route over here by dropping off the rest, similar to the way we did the meat. And we've got the fire station here, so we'll do the same thing, 59% here, the rest over here. And that should get all of these staffed. We've got a warehouse in the middle collecting the chemicals. We'll have a train line set up to collect the chemicals. We'll have the train go over. Its first stop will be to run over here to this warehouse and load up chemicals, 21 tons of chemicals into this warehouse, because the fabric factory can use chemicals. So now you might be looking at this line saying, how in the world is it going to get there? Well, we're going to find out if this works, but I put a roundabout down here. So the idea is the train will come down here, use this roundabout to turn around and go back up this way and drop off its chemicals, then come back to the roundabout again and go back up to Berislav and do the export and go back and start over. That way the trains can get there. It's the same thing. We're going to see if this works, if we can take passenger trains from here and get them over here. We should be able to, provided they are smart enough to figure out that they have a roundabout down here, and it seems to do a good job routing on the roundabout, so we're going to find out if that works. If it doesn't, I'm going to mutter to myself and then have to come up with a plan B to get the trains over here. All right, so that's the deal with the trains and with the setup of the chemicals. And our goal, our little 2-year plan, is to do 2 things. 1, provide chemicals for the fabric factory, and 2, export at least $2 million worth of chemicals in the next 2 years. And I honestly don't think that's going to be a hard thing to do. And let's see, what else do I want to... Oh, one other comment before I jump in and start. Yes, I'm auto building. Before I jump into that, the mini map. I didn't even realize you could do this to this extent. I love this. You can make this map really big so it's easier to read. Now, if I may, I got what I wanted. I got a mini map, but could I ask a couple of things? One is actually show these stations. You can kind of tell where they are by these little, looks like worms coming out. Those are actually the lines coming to our export stations. Show the border more clearly so that we can actually see where the western block, eastern block is, because this is not on our map. This is actually out here. If we look at, I got excited. I was looking at this and I saw, look at all that oil up there. I thought, I didn't realize there was such a rich deposit up there, and I will go up there, and it turns out all the oil is out there. It's out there. And the other thing is, I don't know if in Eastern Europe it's different, but I truly don't think it is. When you look at a map in Eastern Europe, do you not put north on the top? I mean, we do. I do. Every country that I know does. It's sort of a standard. I don't know that it's what you call a standard that's actually practiced by everyone, but it seems to me like that. If this is going to be a stationary position for this map, it seems to me this should be north. But the problem with this is if we go up here and get close to that border, you'll notice it's actually this. I have to flip around this way. No, that's the opposite. Well, that's really confusing. So it's pointing me like I'm going that way, but it's actually down on my screen. It's very, for directionally challenged people like me, it's very confusing. But at any rate, it seems that the Eastern Bloc nations are, based on the map, are to our south and to our west. And that would put us in Mongolia or, let's see, you can't go above Siberia. I mean, we're almost in Alaska, I think, to have the Soviet Union to our south and west. And I can't think of a way to orientate a Eastern European country, take a square Eastern European country and turn it so that the Western Bloc nations are to the north and the east. That just seems wrong to me. But anyway, all right, enough of that. But thank you for the mini map. I'm glad to have it because look how quickly I was able to move back there where I wanted to be. And now if I just turn around the way I like to look at it, otherwise I'll be lost, then I'll be good to go. That's backwards. I'm sorry. I apologize for being handicapped, but there it is. All right, so that's still wrong. All right, I'm getting there though. Here we go. That looks kind of normal. All right, so we saw that this is the education thing's going great, and we've created a new problem, too many people. We're going to solve it by building out our new chemicals. We got our plan, our goal for our chemicals. Let me just start building this. I'll be right back. This is just, I'm literally going to fire these up. I'm going to do them all in dollars until I run out of dollars. Okay, before we start bringing people, well, we're looking great on the money, so let's just go ahead. Before we start bringing people in, let's make sure that the trains are going to work, that we can get trains in here. All right, so I'm thinking probably 4 commuter trains, motor wagons. Nope, let's do 3. These guys are fast and big. We'll do 3 like we did for the meat and see how that works. So we're going to tell this guy to go here, here, and here, and only take workers and unload those workers, unload 59% of them. And by the way, I think it was Aristocrat who said if I take it all the way down to 0 and then come back up, I can get 50. But I don't want 50, I want 59. There we go. All right, so thank you for that. Go here and unload everything. And here we don't unload anything, we just load up. All right, and now here we go. Fingers crossed, will it find it? Of course not. And where does it think it has a problem? Oh, well, that's a good sign. It should have a problem right there. That's our diesel fuel station. So pause. So let's try that again. Hey, it worked. So we're going to copy and copy. and start one. And by the way, another thing from a design point of view, this horrible place for that depot. I just threw it in there when we were starting. It should be off to the side with a roundabout exit, you know, all on our main line so that it can connect to every other line. That would be the proper way to do it. Okay, we've got those three started. And I do want to, while I'm thinking of it, we don't have any people yet, but I want to set this to be only workers. There's no place for passengers or students to go. And having said that, we might as well, there we go. There's our football field. Yay, I didn't forget them. Okay. We might as well start bringing in some folks. And let's start with Six Flats, and I'll go back and check the spreadsheet and make sure I got the right number of them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, here comes our first train. There comes some more working their way over. Good deal. Got our fire put out. All right, let's start bringing some people into this. Let's start seating with 100 people. Oh, and stop. The other thing I want to do here is, if we got too many people over here, rather than giving them another industry, let's just take 20 people and move them over there. And probably may have taken people who had jobs, but it doesn't matter. It should sort itself out. We had 26 people. Let's move 20 people out of this flat over here. And we've got 36. Let's move 30 people from there over here. And 30. Let's move 30 more. And 30 more. And we can let's move 30 more. And I think that was 50. Wait a minute. Lost track of which ones I did. I think I did that when I didn't touch this one. 50 and 47. Let's move about 40 of those people over as well. All right, and let's see how many more we need. And we need a couple of fire trucks, and we need some ambulances. Okay, and we need And folks, we are producing chemicals. Our schools are looking good. We've got staffed playgrounds. Our kindergartens are good. All right, why are we getting no workers? Let's see what this train does. He's got 44 workers. So 20 some should get out here. They all got out. They all got out, folks. They all got out. How many you got? He's got 57. Let's see what happens when his 57 arrive. They all got out. I'm wondering if, I'm just wondering, obviously I'm lost. I don't know, this functionality is not behaving as you would expect it to. 25 people, 12 or so should, 13 should get out, 10 or 12 should stay on, they all get out. Okay. So obviously, the only time that actually works is when you have a lot of people, so it's looking more and more like that's 59% of your train needs to get out. But that's, all right, I'm going to gripe a little. That is not a useful functionality to me, because now you're asking me to calculate how many people I think are going to be on my train in order to figure out what percentage of those of the total capacity should get out, rather than doing it based on how many people are actually in the train, which is what I think should happen, or what I would prefer happen. But you got to play the game the way you find it. So what we're going to have to do here is change a train. This train here is going to skip that platform altogether and just go straight here. That way he'll take his full load there. The other two, until I have no room for a roundabout. Crap. There's no room to turn these people around either. So they're going to have to go up here and turn around. So I'm going to add one more train that goes all the way. And this guy here, We'll copy his route to that new one. Whoops. And start him. Okay. Oh man, now we got train. Oh, he's confused because I did that to him at a bad time. So we'll tell him to go to that. Go on up there. Okay. If you follow that, he was here, and when I changed his route, he thought he had to go back to the first one to start. So I just told him to go up here and act like that was the end of your route. Now he should work. And these trains are going to dump everybody. Yeah. Gonna have to go back and revisit the meat industry. It seems to be working okay. It's probably because we have a lot of workers. That's my guess. It's probably only working because there's a lot of workers. 41, 35, 43. Yeah, see, they're not getting as many. They should be getting about as many as these. They're just getting the dregs when there happens to be a whole lot left over. And that's a shame, because if I was going to do it that way, if I knew it worked like that, and if I knew this side, whoever got there, whoever was first would get the most, I would have the slaughterhouse directly attached to it over here. In other words, the slaughterhouse and the road depot would be reversed, so that the most effective ones would be feeding directly to the slaughterhouse. But it's okay. It is working. Seems to be working pretty well. I'm not going to mess with it right now. I want to make sure we get this chemicals thing up and running. And okay, we don't have a ton of people in there. Everything else is looking good. I do have to set up truck delivery for this. I'll get to that in a minute. Oh, I did want to note, remember the bridge I tried to build in a prior episode over a road? It was just a pain. This one, I actually took the terraforming tool, built up a mound right here, and then made the bridge between the two mounds and connected it off, and then worked on coming off that hill and straightening it all out to make it work. But that made it so much easier. Now it's just one straight. The bridge doesn't go up and down. The bridge only goes straight across between these two high points. That made it much easier job than what I was trying to do before. Okay, getting a few people. Not many, and we'll have to bump up the people here. Whoops. Oh, and look, isn't that nice? Look at that. The only error message we're getting is church, which we can't avoid. One citizen couldn't go to the pub. Why couldn't he? He could have. He probably just tried to go right before the pub got stocked. I don't know. There's no reason he can't go to the pub. But, oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. The only error message we're getting is they can't go pray, which means this one is functioning beautifully. Whereas over here, no kindergarten. See, we still got the kindergarten problem. We got problems over here. This one isn't as awesome as I thought it was. This one maybe has a shot at being pretty awesome. We'll see. Now we're getting a little bit. It's going to take, by the way, a long time to have a train load of chemicals, and I will be running a large train. I won't be running some little piece of crap train. So let's go ahead and set that up while I'm thinking about it. That's going to cost us rubles. Diesel. Oh, what do we got here? 115 and 1250. We're going to keep running the same train so they're not running over top of each other. Cargo wagons. Now, to haul chemicals, it takes a boxcar. 8 boxcars. And we want you to start here. Fill up with chemicals. Then we want you to go to here. And we want you to unload all those chemicals. Well, no. We want you to unload however many you can. Then we want you to go to here and unload everything, all the rest. See, load to your full, unload what you can, unload them all. Go. Well, that was interesting. I did not want him to do that. He went through the fuel station and he's waiting for a lane to open up. Interesting. It's a good thing we set up all these passing lanes and the ability for multiple trains, because he could have caused a problem. But that makes sense, because now he just takes this nearest roundabout and gets on his business, on with his business. So, That could have caused a problem, though, if had he gone in there and we weren't accounting for having multiple trains coming into that roundabout. But we were, so we're cool. That's kind of cool, watching the train pass over the train. And I want to make sure he fits in there. That's the big key, and he does. Beautiful. I was a little concerned I hadn't left enough room, but it looks like it's just beautiful. And now we're starting to make some pollution. Hey, look at that. All right, now we're producing some chemicals. All right, good deal. All right, let's stop right there. So in this episode, obviously, we build up a chemical industry, and I hope you see the pattern. We're going to keep working our way around the map, extending our freight line, continuing to create stuff that can be used in other industries or exported, or both, as in the case of the chemicals. And can you guess what might be next? I'm thinking plastics. If we do plastics and have a really solid build for the plastics, and the town for the plastics, by the way, could very easily use this. We don't have to have a full-blown this, but we could build a town with the ability to go here for the university. Could even leverage this hospital if we wanted to, instead of building another one that's got plenty of room and plenty of coverage. So we could possibly extend this one out here, build in the mountains again, that are kind of worthless ground up here, build our city up here for a little plastic city, put our plastics industries down here, have our chemicals run over there and feed the plastics. That just might be next, but getting ahead of myself right now. We want to see these chemicals working. We want to see all these people happiness growing. It is rapidly. The pub tavern again. What's the deal here? Am I misreading the walking here? It looks very, very much like every one of these flats can walk to that pub. They can. There shouldn't be a problem with it. All right. So offline, I'll set up the truck lines from over here to bring the food, clothing, meat into here and the alcohol into here. And we should have a nice functioning little new module that we've set up. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Workers and Resources Soviet Republic video. Thank you.